Safety and Fire by Mother Fluffer. Chapter 7. Izuku was relieved that they were able to get the Bakugos to go away. He honestly didn't want to deal with them with his parents gone, knowing he would have been forced to stay with them until they got back. And goodness knows how long that could have been. He has no idea how long his father will be staying in the hospital, nor the extent of his injuries. Shoto held him close. Izuku blinked a little, realizing he must have blanked out for a bit. He hadn't done that in a while. "Are you okay, Izuku?" Rei asked kindly. She held his hands, rubbing them lightly. He nodded sadly. He began. "It's okay, Izuku," Enji said. Izuku looked up at him. He smiled. "You don't need to tell us if you don't want to, but I have a faint idea from your uncle and grandfather." Izuku bowed his head. "You're not in trouble," Rei added. "You did nothing wrong. Have done nothing wrong." She pet his head. Izuku relaxed under her kind touch. She smiled. Shoto hugged him tightly. "We're here for you, Zu. I promise. I won't let him hurt you again," Shoto promised. "I'll punch him if he even gets close to you," Toya muttered darkly, trying to keep his quirk under control. "But how?" Izuku asked. "Your detective uncle and I have a plan," Enji smiled. "Don't worry, Zu. We have everything under control, and pretty soon you could find yourself in Shoto's class." Izuku brightened up. He looked at Shoto. "I could really be in your class?" he asked. Shoto nodded with a grin. "And then we can be the best of friends. I mean, we already are, but we can show everyone else how great of friends we are," Shoto smiled. "I can show you my favorite places, and we can do our homework together." Izuku giggled excitedly. "I'd really like that," Izuku nodded. "How about we watch a movie?" Rei suggested. The Todoroki kids immediately began shouting out their favorite films. Izuku listened and watched them joyfully, giggling at them all. Enji watched the scene before him with a soft but protective expression. Izuku was silent through the movie, the one chosen being Frozen. He watched it with wide eyes and a small smile. Shoto happily clutched his hand, but Izuku didn't mind. By the time they were halfway through the second chosen movie, Izuku and Shoto had fallen asleep against each other. Shoto had wrapped his arms around Izuku protectively. Enji had gotten a blanket from Shoto's room, draping it over the two boys. "Okay, Dad, here's the deal. We need to figure out who is going to be watching Izuku before you can burn his school to the ground," Toya said. Enji turned to his oldest son in surprise. "Toya has a point. While we know the school can be shut down very easily, when Izuku goes back, he will be at the mercy of everyone there," Rei frowned. "They don't have a healing quirk, so we will have to make sure to get evidence of his state before going to school and what he's like after. UA is closer to his school. If I can get out before his school on intern duty, I'm sure I will be able to keep an eye on him. Who will fuck with a kid when one of Endeavor's interns is watching over him?" "Dad, that might be the best option. I don't want Izuku to be hurt anymore," Fuyumi said. Enji nodded. "I'll go to my office. Nezu should still be in his office at this time. I should ask him about this. He might have an additional plan that can help us." His family watched him leave the room. "I don't think I have ever seen Dad so focused on a case before," Natsuo muttered. "He's never had a case this big, involving All Might as a villain. He must feel like it's his duty to make things right as the number 2 hero, to fix what the number 1 has done." Rei frowned. "And honestly, we have seen Izuku. Wouldn't you be acting like your father if you were in his place?" The kids nodded. Enji sat on the phone with Nezu. Tsukauchi had been called from the principal's side, along with Torino and Night Eye, and an online file between the 5 of them was being created by Nezu. Only they could gain access. After a brief explanation, Nezu had been on board, pulling everyone else in. Enji felt better with Nezu sorting around things. There was very little the mouse didn't know, and he knew the other heroes and the officer felt the same way. "I would like to meet him one day," Nezu commented. "A son of All Might, but a secret from everyone. I understand if he was kept a secret for his safety, but it is clear this is a much worse situation. Quirk discrimination. Some people argue it doesn't count the quirkless because of the fact they don't have a quirk." Tsukauchi sighed. "It is not a matter of if he has a quirk. His father hates the idea of Izuku liking any hero above him," Torino huffed. "What?" Enji asked. "It's true. You know the underground hero, Eraserhead?" Night Eye asked. Yes, I believe we've crossed paths before. A good man. Got me out of a sticky situation before. I made sure the Hero Commission gave him the pay for that capture. He deserved it. I guess Izuku is a fan." Enji smiled fondly. "More than that, honestly. Some people look at All Might like some other being. Izuku is like that to Eraser," Torino says. "Makes sense. Eraser fights quirkless. His quirk levels the playing field, but overall fights with no quirk. Izuku would naturally be drawn to a hero like him." Nezu nodded. Enji made a note of that. Maybe he could see if he could get Eraser to speak to Izuku. "So, how is this going to work?" "Tsukauchi and I have our plan. Think it will work?" Enji asked. "It's a good plan, high chance of success, but bringing up Eraserhead gave me an additional idea. He specializes in stealth. I also know of a time he has aided All Might on cases, without All Might being aware he was there," Nezu said. "I would suggest seeing if he will get involved for some more private evidence, to get evidence of how Izuku's parents treat him in the privacy of their home. That would greatly help the case. I will add that to the list. I know Sansa has his contact number," Tsukauchi said. "We need to meet in person. I can bring Izuku along with me," Enji smiled. "Excellent. If you can all come by tomorrow, we can get things sorted for him. The faster we can provide him reassurance that we will get him out of that situation, I think the easier he will rest," Nezu said. Enji nodded and smiled. Izuku was going to enjoy tomorrow for sure. Hey everyone, it's Tempe again. That's the end of this chapter, and if you liked this, please follow the links in the description to go to the original work and support the author. If you liked this, please leave a like, comment, or subscribe. If you have any suggestions for fanfictions or how to make this better, please leave a comment, or you can send the suggestion to my email in the description. Alright, thanks guys. See you next time. Bye.